then we're going to open the floor up to questions. So yeah, if you have any questions, just hang on and feel free to ask them after we go over our lesson. Okay, Islam Morris. So yeah, we're in chapter 35, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Religion. This is the last chapter dealing with the social duties, right? We spoke about that a couple of times. Chapters 30 or 31 through 35 are specifically speaking on our codes of conduct, right? The outlining responsibilities that we have as Moorish Americans, right? So saying you're Moorish American is not good enough, right? We have to live up to a code as Muslims. That's what brings us into the salvation, right? The Prophet actually put in most of the work, or at least from the perspective of the literature and the Quran, most of the work is on perfecting ourselves, subduing our lower self, and just striving to be our higher self, to think from our higher self, to raise our thoughts up to infinite wisdom. And then obviously, we see how that will work. That will save us from most of the problems that we have in life, right? Most of the problems we have is because, we're not thinking from our higher self. And most of us didn't even know that this stuff existed, right? And so now we're working on getting up to speed. And so chapters 31 through 35 are giving us codes of conduct that we can do on a personal level, but then also to apply in our community. So we do this at the community level and then at the national level. And so Moorish Americans are always supposed to adhere to our codes of conduct daily, right? Whenever we're amongst each other, and also taking our place in the affairs of men, right? And at the family of nations. So we do this as a collective. And then once we come amongst others, they already know the deal. Right? When they see Moors, we're not supposed to be doing things that we've done under the mentality of so-called Black people or Negroes. Let me pull up the Divine Constitution again, as this relates to what we're talking about. What did the Prophet say we're supposed to give back? Right? It wasn't just the religion, right? It's also the names and the principles that delude to slavery, right? We have to get rid of those, the principles, the name and the principles that go along with it. So there's principles that come along with being a Negro or Black or whatever, is being called now. So we're supposed to give all of that back. All of that, because you can't keep that and then become a noble, right? The lords of the land, the creators of civilization. All of that stuff's holding us back. So that whole mentality, right? And then we know there's a whole mentality that comes along with that. So we have to give all that stuff back. The names and the principles that delude to slavery. We're giving all of that back so that we can truly succeed now. And let's go on and go into the Quran. Chapter 35, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, Religion. Okay, there is but one Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. In some ways, this is needed to explain what we mean when we say Allah, because some people, right, they're so smart, and there's nothing wrong with doing a little research. But some people do a little research and they say Allah, well, that's a lot. A lot is a demigod, right? It's like, no, we're not talking about that. You can go somewhere with that, right? We're talking about the creator, the sustainer of all worlds, right? Incomprehensible, meaning beyond our understanding as humans, as physical beings, almighty and eternal, the creator. The Son is not Allah, though his noblest image, right? It's a noble image, created in his image, just as we are. He enlighteneth the world with his brightness. He warmeth, his warmth giveth life to the products of the earth. Admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. Also implied in here that the sun is alive, right? Made in Allah's image, just as we are. Has attributes, characteristics. It gives warmth, gives life. Excuse me. All right, Islam. So admire him as the creature, the instrument of Allah, but worship him not. To the one who is supreme, most wise, and beneficent, and to him alone belong worship, adoration, thanksgiving, and praise. Who hath stretched forth the heavens with his hands, who hath described with his finger the courses of stars, who setteth bounds to the ocean that it cannot pass, and saith unto the stormy winds, be still, who shaketh the earth, and the nations tremble, who dareth his lightnings, and the wicked are dismayed, who calleth forth worlds by the words of his mouth, who smiteth with his arm, and they sink into nothing. O reverence the majesty of the omnipotent, and tempt not his anger, lest thou be destroyed. The providence of Allah is ever all his works. He ruleth and directeth with infinite wisdom. He hath instituted laws for the government of the world. He hath wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conformeth to his will. In the depth of his mind, he revolveth all knowledge. The fruits of futurity lie open before him. The thoughts of thy heart are naked to his view. He knoweth thy determinations before they are made. With respect to his prescience, there is nothing contingent. With respect to his providence, there is nothing accidental. Wonderful is he in all his ways. His counsels are inscrutable. The manner of his knowledge transcendeth thy conception. Pay therefore to his wisdom all honor and veneration, and bow down thyself in humble and submissive obedience to his supreme discretion. The Father is gracious and beneficent. He hath created the world in mercy and love. His creatures of his hands declare his goodness, and their enjoyments speak of his praise. He clothed them with beauty. He supporteth them with food. He preserveth them with pleasure from generation to generation. If we lift up our eyes to the heavens, his glory shineth forth. If we cast them down on the earth, it is full of his goodness, right? In every direction. Doesn't matter how you're looking. The hills and the valleys rejoice and sing. Fields, rivers, and woods resound his praise. But thee he hath distinguished with peculiar favor and exalted thy station above all creatures. All right. He hath endued thee with reason to maintain thy dominion. He hath fitted thee with language to improve thy society, and exalted thy mind with the powers of meditation to contemplate and adore his immutable perfections. And in the laws he hath ordained as the rules of life. So kindly hath he united thy duty to thy nature, that obedience to his precepts is happiness to thyself. And so it's just saying, like, to follow these divine instructions, right? To get in alignment with your higher nature. It's in accordance with our nature anyway. So it's not even a burden to get in alignment with your higher nature, and also in alignment with Allah. Oh, praise his goodness with songs of thanksgiving, and meditate in silence on the wonders of his love. Let thy heart overflow with gratitude and acknowledgement. Let the language of thy lips speak praise and adoration. Let the actions of thy life show thy love to his law. Allah is just and righteous and will judge the earth with equity and truth. Hath he established his laws in goodness and mercy? And shall he not punish the transgressors thereof? Oh, think not, bold man, because thy punishment is delayed, that the arm of Allah is weakened. Neither flatter thyself with hopes that he winketh at thy doings. His eyes pierceth the secret of every heart, and he remembereth them forever. He respecteth not the persons or the stations of men, the high and the low, the rich and the poor, the wise and the ignorant. When the soul hath shaken off the cumbrous shackles of this mortal life, shall equally receive from the sentence of just and everlasting retribution according to their works. Then shall the wicked tremble and be afraid, but the heart of the righteous shall rejoice in his judgments. O fear Allah, therefore, all the days of thy life, and walk in the path which he hath opened before thee. Let prudence admonish thee, let temperance restrain. Let justice guide thy hand, benevolence warm thy heart, and gratitude to heaven inspire thee with devotion. These shall give thee happiness in thy present state and bring thee to the mansions of eternal felicity in the paradise of Allah. This is the true economy of human life, Islam. And so this is showing us how to truly be happy and to get in alignment with our higher self. When it's saying here in verse 29, O fear Allah, therefore all the days of thy life, and walk in the paths in which he hath opened before thee. Why would we be told here to fear Allah? We're being told all of the wonderful things, right, that Allah has done, how everything in nature rejoices and sings his praise. But we're told, oh, fear Allah, therefore, all the days of thy life, and walk in the path which he hath opened before thee, right? Why is it saying fear? If you look at verse 20, verse 19, it says, but thee he hath distinguished with peculiar favor and exalted thy station above all creatures. Okay? So the fear is because we understand the station that Allah ordained for us. Allah ordained us as the vice regents of earth, as the lords of all the planes of manifest, meaning the physical realm, and the soul plane. Right? So if we understand the power that Allah gave to us, we need to tread lightly. You're not hearing these things and walking around with your chest puffed out thinking, oh, you big and bad because we got this power. No, we have to tread lightly and follow Allah's guidelines. In our Quran, in the Quran, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, Surah 2, Ayah 30, right? You heard this before. Surah 2, Ayah 30, it says, just think, when your Lord said to the angels, lo, I am about to place a vice regent on earth. And they said, will you place on it one who will spread mischief and shed blood while we celebrate your glory and extol your holiness? And he said, surely I know what you do not know. This is Allah speaking to the angels. Allah's holding up man before all the creatures, all the creation, even the angels, and saying, bow down to him. This is the Lord. This is who I'm placing as the Lord over the earth, right? So he's even at a station above the angels. And if you look at that in the Quran where it says that he's about to place a vice regent on earth and he's speaking about man, that word in Arabic is Khalifa. Okay, the Khalifa is the vice regent, and the vice regent is one who exercises the authority delegated to him, right? By basically an earthly representative of the creator. We know that in Catholicism, they say that the Pope is the vice regent of Jesus or the vice regent of God, the only one. But in our Quran, we know now we know to we know to give Christianity back to the European, nothing against it for people that it works for, right? But it's actually created for the Europeans for their earthly salvation, while we return to Islam for our earthly and divine salvation. So as we return into Islam, we know that we're not born in sin. Okay? That's falsehood. We also know that Allah created man, all of us, as vice regents. And then, as I was saying before, vice regent in Arabic is Khalifa. So he created each and every one of us as his Khalifas to rule over the earth plane. And it's not just something, as I was saying, just to take, lightly, to use it as something that you can just go around abusing other people, abusing the animals and everything in creation, right? We're to run this station and make sure that everything is being improved on behalf of Allah. So if we're ruling and even ruling our over other people, we're ruling on behalf of Allah, as well as the animals and the non-living things. All right. And so that's why it's saying fearfully, like we must, when you understand what's really going on, okay, you fear because you understand the station that Allah ordained for us. You can't take that lightly. So you can't be out here doing something that we have no business doing, right? Committing crimes, hurting others. That's not what we were put here to do. That's abusing your station, right? If you're a true Moor, we know that we must raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. And even though no one's sitting here trying to act like they're already there yet, but this is the path that we must be on. And that's the understanding that we have. And if we're all on this same path together, then that's where the trust comes in, and the actually having love and trust for each other, because we're all on this path. And then that's where the community can actually build and be strong. In the past, there was a time, maybe when my grandparents were children and great grandparents, where they said the village raised the child. But in this distorted, crazy world that we live in now, even within the so-called Black community, that don't work, right? You can't even trust your neighbors necessarily to help out and, assist in raising the child, right? There's no trust, and it rightfully so, because of how people conduct themselves. So we must get away from that. We must now move to understand the station that we have, and now that means that we have to clean ourselves up. We must do the work to subdue the lower self, to be our higher self. And that's where the love and trust can come in, where we can have a real community, a real nation, where someone says they're more, oh, you already know. He's not going to be trying to sleep with your wife or trying to come over your house when you're not there, trying to do something to the children, right? It's like, no. Oh, no, that's not even the case. Moors, no, we're not trying to get over on each other, trying to steal money and stuff no, right? We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. It has to mean something to be a Moor, right? The paperwork, it don't mean nothing. These people have guns. They have all types of things, right? Their paperwork can get ripped up and just it means nothing. So it's about our quality of character, how we really conduct ourselves. And then as we do business together, things of that nature, we're working off of these higher principles. That's when it carries weight. That's when it actually means something, right? And so this is also how it ties in there, right? So for the person who just joined the call, says, Delbert, would you please state your name and where you're calling from? Islam?
Delbert Turner, Columbus, Ohio.
All right, Islam. You know what? Please share your name and your phone number and email in the chat. And once again, just your location, just so we remember you're in Columbus. And also too, for the brother who, the other brother who called in first time, please share that info in the chat. Just name, email, phone number, and location. All right. And I'm not sure if you've been on Zoom before, but I think you just need to tap the screen to get those options to come up.
Yeah, I see it right here.
All right, gratitude. And I'm not picking on you, brothers, just everybody else on the call already joined the temple, proclaimed their nationality. We take roll at every call. So whenever it's new people, we get the information.
No problem.
All right, Islam. Okay, so just going in here, just so there's no confusion, right? This is what it's saying when it's speaking on, oh, fear Allah, therefore all the days of thy life, and walk in the paths which he hath opened before thee, right? So he opened these paths before us. All we have to do is walk in that path. But part of that path means walking being in attunement with our higher self, doing the work to subdue the carnal mind, right? And this is how we walk in that path. Okay. And so this is also how we come into our divine covenant with Allah. All right. If we look in the Bible, the King James Version, Genesis 1:26, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Okay. If we look in our Quran, the Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we see that it actually goes further than that, because in addition to all of the things in the physical realm, we also have dominion over the plane of soul, right? And we're multidimensional beings. So there's an aspect to this that we may not truly understand right now. All right. So we have work to do. And this is really what it's all about, right? So we're doing the work in the physical realm, and we're working on subduing our lower self and actually living up to our highest potential. All right. And that's really all that I had to say about chapter 35. Does anyone else have any questions or anything that they would like to share? If so, I yield the floor. Feel free to ask any questions or share any insight you have. Okay, Islam, Brother Jackson Bay, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some things when I read this chapter. When I read it, and like when I first was coming into the whole fold of the Moorish thing, and as far as the temple and the whole ideology, and then when I saw this, for one, I like to say like it really gives you a layout and is really Islamically correct as far as the way, the whole concept of how we believe that Allah is one. But more so than anything, I noticed that in our passage on religion, our chapter on religion, prayer isn't used, but meditation is very used a lot, and the importance of the component and like function of meditation on how we should apply it to our life. And it starts the first time you see meditation in verse 20, and it says that our mind has been exposed to meditation to contemplate and adore his immutable perfection. So that right there is showing that we the purpose of meditation is to contemplate, and contemplation is a form of thinking that is like critical thinking. Contemplation is used to make plans and used to figure out solutions. So that's what our powers of meditation are. That's the functionality, and on top of other things and but that's the primary. So we can so we could just be able to concentrate and plan out our lives better. And the second time it's used, meditation, it's to songs of thanksgiving, to meditate in silence of his wonders. And within the silence, once we silence our own mind and our own thoughts, we could hear the still small voice that Allah speaks in, which is found in our heart. So that right there, these when I read this chapter, and just every time I read it and get a better understanding, I just feel like meditation is the foremost part of our religious expression of Islam. That's all I wanted to say. Peace and love.
Peace and love, brother. Islam, I'm so glad you said that. Like you let it be known, like it's right in here, right? So meditation is one of the things that's at the forefront for us as Moorish American Muslims. Okay. And not to just to repeat just what you said, but just going right back up there to verse 20. All right, where it's saying, previous verse 19, but thee he hath distinguished with peculiar favor, and exalted thy station above all creatures. And then it explains kind of some of the ways how we're exalted. But thee he hath endued thee with reason, right, to maintain thy dominion. Right, we're not limited to anything, space, land, sea. We could be anywhere, and we have reason. He hath fitted thee with language, right, to improve thy society. And then it says, like as the brother said, and exalted thy mind with the powers of meditation. And then it says to contemplate and adore his inimitable perfections. Okay, so the reason why meditation is so special is explained here, so that we can contemplate and adore his inimitable perfections. And when you look up inimitable, it says incapable of being imitated or copied, surpassing imitation, matchless or unmatchable by anyone or anything. Right. So when it's saying to be able to adore his inimitable perfections, that means to have the utmost esteem and to pay divine honor to Allah's unmatchable creation. Right? The universe and everything that is composed of, it can't be imitated, it can't be duplicated. Right? Something is incomprehensible. But we're able to meditate on this. And even in doing this, we're able to do some things that may sound incredible, right, to each other if we explained it. This is also how in the past, the ancients in Egypt, how they would have their stories of being able to make the waters of the Nile stand on top of each other like stairs, right? Able to move heavy objects, able to do things that defied the laws of physics, right? And this isn't necessarily coming from someone teaching it to them. It's, as the brother said, being able to quiet the mind and listen to the still small voice and to receive that divine wisdom straight from the source. And that's how come in 2022, they still can't explain how the things were done that our ancestors did. They don't know, and they won't know. No one will know until we figure it out and show the world, that the Moors still have it in them, no matter how far they think we've fallen. All right, but it ain't gonna happen by pretending. We have to actually be able to quiet that monkey mind down, right? We have to be able to quiet the carnal mind and to do the work to actually align our thoughts with the higher self. Islam. I see you, Sister Douglas L.
Islam. First and foremost, I'd like to rise and give perfect praise to our Father God Allah, the one who made all of us and everything. I'd like to rise and give honors to his prophet Noble Ali and honors to all of Allah's prophets. I also like to rise and give honors to all of you Muslims in attendance and everything Moorish. I wanted to add to that measure because this is truly important to us in our awakening and to our leveling up as who we were and becoming who we supposed to be. Because when before we became conscious, right? Most of us didn't have conscious parents who taught us who we truly are. You know, we were indoctrinated as a people, and we were forced into not only physical bondage, but also mental slavery. So this is one of the ways out. This is major keys right here, because this chapter helped me to understand that it's all about awareness and the connection to our source, which is the creator of all things, to know how to apply the science to our way of life. That's what religion is when you're following a specific way of life, when you're applying this information to your everyday, lifestyle, to take our place and to work in our stations in delight and satisfaction within that oneness. Because when our higher selves and our lower selves, when we understand that balance, when we understand that we are God and we are the devil, both at the same time, and we are to choose to be God, then we understand our positions. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, sister, gratitude for sharing. Let's see, Sister Lachey L, I see you. I yield the floor.
Islam. I just wanted to go over 29 and 30, where it says, "O fear Allah, therefore all the days of our life, and walk in the path which he had opened before thee. Let prudence admonish thee, let temperance restrain thee, let justice guide thy hand, benevolence warm thy heart, and gratitude to heaven inspired with devotion. These shall give thee happiness in the present state, and bring thee to the mansions of eternal felicity in the paradise of Allah. This is a true economy of human life." And when I read that, I just thought of that is showing that heaven is a state of mind. And where do we find this heaven? In the paradise of Allah. And then with felicity, it means intense happiness, or like the second definition was, find appropriate expression for one's thought. Thought of Allah should make you happy. So it's just kind of backing on what everybody else is saying, that heaven is a state of mind, and we are in the present state. So Islam.
All right, Islam, sister, Islam, and that's what the Master Jesus revealed is in our Quran as well, right? Heaven is a state of mind. It's it's not a place that can be reached. It's a state of mind. So that lets us know we can always achieve that. Just as it says in there, "These shall give thee happiness in thy present state." One thing too that I wanted to just reiterate, verse 21, it says, "And in the laws he hath ordained as the rule of life." That's religion. Okay, just kind of summing up the whole chapter, religion. "And in the laws he hath ordained as the rule of life," right? That's religion. "So kindly hath he united thy duty to thy nature, that obedience to his precepts is happiness to thyself." So our religion is not composed of a bunch of weird rituals that don't make any sense, or just doing stuff that's like just tedious and boring, or just against our nature. No, superstitious, right? Not just doing it, but come on, let's go walk around here and throw these rocks. No, it's not like that, right? That's why a prophet was raised from amongst us, which is that's the criteria across the board. That's in the Bible. That's all throughout the Quran. The prophet was raised from amongst us to get us in alignment with Allah. Okay? And so our religion is uniting us, our duty to our own nature. So obedience to his precepts is happiness to thyself. So it's not even hard to do. It's not even hard to get in alignment. It's not, you know, it's not something that would just turn you away. It's not difficult to do. Islam. I see Sister Douglas said Islam.
Islam, you just made me like have an epiphany, like back when we go back to the word religion, you know, which is what this chapter is all about. We remember that the Prophet Noble Ali brought us an old time religion, right? People don't really like listen to what that means. The old, not these new religions that they keep recreating and fixing up, you know, and adding things and twisting and turning things. Now the old time religion is all about truth, because truth don't change. You know, it don't get revised. You don't revise the truth. The truth is the truth, period. Right? So the old time religion was taking us back to the ancient ways of our forefathers, right? That's taking us back to the covenant, to our holy covenant, right? Our divine creed and principles that do not change. That love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's universal and it's the highest principles known to man. So that's deep. Islam, I yield the floor.
All right, Islam, and it's as simple as that. Islam. All right. Does anyone else have anything they like to share or speak on from chapter 35?
Peace.
Islam.
I'd just like to say that politics is religion. Religion is politics. Islam.
All right, Islam, brother. Gratitude. Was that was it? That's all you had to say?
Essentially, yes. But to elaborate on it, this is how we're able to operate without being infringed on. Or just reiterate that. This is our religion. These are our politics. It's like you said, this is our standard. So
Islam. All right, Islam, and that was extremely important. Every civilized people has to have a spiritual system, like their own system that keeps them in alignment, like their own laws. They have to have some higher understanding and laws that show them for themselves that they will hold themselves to a certain standard, but also is they're going to interact with other nations to show that they have standards, right? That this is how we conduct business. This is what we do. This is what we don't do. And it's something that everyone had to have, right? And it's something that we didn't have, right? We were given a religion, and we were only given portions of that religion, right? And initially it didn't work to our benefit. So definitely I agree with you there, brother. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
Islam, I want to agree or camelback on what the brother they can't touch your religion. So the prophet knew exactly, he was definitely divinely prepared to bring this knowledge and these sciences to us so that we could save ourselves and raise up as a mighty race. Islam.
Islam, sister. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? All right. If not, I want to go ahead and just open up the floor to questions. If anybody has any questions in general, feel free to speak now.
This is Perez. I was actually I had a question about how exactly do we go about changing or even choosing our names.
Can you repeat the last part? You were going out. You said changing or choosing, and then it kind of went out.
Oh, our names. Changing and
Islam,
choosing our names.
do you mean the L's and Bays are titles that are affixed to our names?
Right.
So it's just our last names we change.
Yeah, okay, Islam. So yeah, I definitely can speak to that. So as far as like what you're asking, like, you know, how do we go about doing it, or maybe how do we even choose? We can speak on like why we choose L or Bay, you know, to just to educate, you know, why we do that. And we don't change our name, right? We say that we're correcting our name. We don't want to get rid of the family name because, well, there's several reasons why, but just one, just the basic reason will be you don't want to like lose the lineage, whatever you have, whether you were adopted or whether this is a name that you inherited from, you know, your grandparents and everyone. It doesn't matter. You don't want to like change and distort that record by like just change it. Now, some people change the name anyway. I don't care, but I'm just saying, like in general, most of us, we don't want to destroy that record. All right. So if your last name is like Jones, you know, you don't want to just like change it to Amun Hotep Ra or something like that. You want to just leave it Jones, but add your L or Bay to it. All right. And the L and Bay are the Moorish national names. It's not our free national name. Free national names American or Moorish American. But basically the Bay is a title. It means governor. You could say it refers to the governing abilities, like with the spirit, with the character of man. L means God or creator. It refers to the creative abilities within the spirit, within the soul, and the character of man. And we add the L or Bay back to our name. And when we do that, it's a representation of basically we're these are the keys to our vast estate, right? We're coming into our own. And this firmly establishes us as Moorish Americans. All right. Even if, say, you Haitian and you have like a French name, or you're Puerto Rican or something, you have like a Spanish name. It distinguishes us from everyone else in the world just by adding that L or Bay to it.
Okay, I understand.
All right. But yeah, we don't generally. Some people do change their whole name, but we don't. In general, we don't do that. We keep our family name and everything, name that your parents gave you, and we just add our title to it, the L or Bay. All right. And yeah, I mean, that signifies to the world who we are.
And what was the terminology? How'd you say we don't change our names? We
say we correct our name. We're correcting our name.
Okay, there we go.
You know, so yeah, like from the for the state or the city's perspective, the county perspective, you're changing your name. But I make sure, like on the record, that it's stated that I'm correcting my name because I'm returning to the ways of my ancestors. All right, and I think that's an important step that needs to be in there. Also, that you're correcting your status, you're correcting your name.
How about going about nationalizing?
Well, once you proclaim your nationality with the Moorish Science Temple of America, that's you nationalizing. I mean, you know, individually, people have a whole bunch of things that they're trying to do, they're working on. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's individual. Now, once you come into the temple, you're working with your Moors in your community to actually build something sustainable, actually working to get your land, to start growing your own food, to start getting, you know, controlling clean water, you know, all the things that we need. Now you're building your society. Now you're really nationalizing or whatever, because like all that paperwork stuff don't mean nothing. We actually have to grow our food. We need to have everything that everybody else has. So this is what the temple is really about. It's not just about just going over the Quran lessons. It's about actually getting businesses, starting businesses, having our own banks, having everything that we need. Because that's where it's really at. Nothing else works. You know what I'm saying? The physical work, that's what we're about, actually building it. Everything that we need for ourselves. We use the internet. We need our own servers so that somebody can't just cut our lights off, just cut our internet off, you know? So it's about actually building that stuff so that we're not just saying that we have a nation, we really have it. And we really are able to control our own destiny.
Are we taking steps to actually to, I guess, build a temple here in Columbus?
Yeah, we're working on that now. You know, like we're at square one, but that's what we're working on. Cause like if we don't do it, nobody else is gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. About so coming together or classes, or like how do y'all go about that as well, or are we going to go about that as well, or I can have myself involved as well?
Yeah, we've been meeting like say all throughout the last year, at least once a month, having like a physical meeting. But then we also do stuff together, like, you know, sometimes we go to different places, like we went to the mounds, also the serpent mounds out here, and like we just do different stuff together. We also have a physical meeting once a month. We haven't been doing it though this winter, but that's typically we have at least a physical meeting every month until we get an actual building where we're gonna have, you know, all the meetings. We'll probably still do the Zoom classes, but you know, we'll have the physical meetings every week.
Understandable. Okay. Well, I mean, as far as I can think right now, that's all the questions I have, and I really appreciate you hearing me out. Y'all hear me out.
Islam. All right, Islam. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say or any questions? Okay. If not, I'd like to announce out without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go into the closing of the meeting. Do want to thank you all for joining us. Also want to thank the two brothers for calling in your first time. We'll send you guys an email later on this week. One thing though, let me share this link in the chat. Everybody who's able to go to that website, MorrisAmericans.com. That's our website. If you haven't made a profile on there, you can make a free profile. We'll have like a forum on there, and we'll be using that more in the future to communicate. So make sure you go in there and make a free profile, MorrisAmericans.com. And on that note, let's go ahead and close out. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Please rise and face the east with us as we do the closing prayer. You do not need to repeat after me. We stand facing the east with our heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in our holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Peace and love, Morris. Happy Holy Day.
Islam, Morris. Happy Holy Day. Great